What's up, guys? Welcome to the Stats Free Sports channel. Let's get right into it. No real intro for you guys in this video. I want to ask you guys a question right off the bat. How are you guys feeling about Trevor Lawrence's development in Jacksonville? Let's talk about it. So, the Jaguars are now 2-6. They just lost their early game today in London versus the Bruss and the struggling Broncos. And just watching that game and watching Lawrence the last couple of weeks closely, I'm not a Jaguars fan. I'm a Falcons fan, but I did a video on Lawrence right after their victory in Week 3 when they beat the Chargers 38-10. They were currently 2-1, and I said I proclaimed in that video that they're going to be the AFC South champions. They're going to have a very good record, and they're going to be a threat in the playoffs at least to get to the second round. And mathematically, they can still win the AFC South. The South is kind of weak division this year, the same as my NFC South. So they're both the two weak divisions in the NFL right now. But as far as being a threat, that could still happen. It's still early in the season, close to halfway mark, but Lawrence hasn't really been impressive after that Week 3 game. The next week after that, they played the Eagles in that nasty, muddy, rainy game. The Eagles played fine. They had I think Hurts did a pick six, his first throw, or at least the first drive. Then the Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars scored again and scored 14 zip. Then after that point, the Eagles scored like 28 unanswered points. And stuff like that is kind of tricky to be like, man, he's played well in certain spots, but it seemed like after that Week 3 game versus the Chargers, he just been struggling. He's only hit over 200 yards since that game, and it came in two losses, one to the Houston Texans and one to the Giants. They lost, as I said, they lost both of those games, and then since that game, including today's game versus the Denver Broncos, since Week 3, he's had 5 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. You know, kind of tough. He has weapons now. Christian Kirk was his weapon early on. The first 3 weeks, after that first 3 weeks, he kind of slowed down. James Robinson played well the first couple weeks. After that, now he's traded. First his workload went down and down and down, and now he's traded going to the Jets. And Etienne has definitely picked up where him and Robinson left off as a duo. Etienne looks fantastic. Had today 150 plus yards, 125, somewhere in that range. I forgot exactly, but it's real interesting, man, how Lawrence has developed. The accuracy still is better than last year, but it's still not great. His decision making better than last year, but still not great. And don't get me wrong, he's a year 2 guy. I don't want to judge him too strongly, but I'm always going off of what they tout him as or tout you as, and they touted him as the next great one. And you gotta put him in that air of an Andrew Luck, in that air of whoever were great coming out of high school and coming out of college. And Luck lived up to the hype right away. No, some other guy lived up to the hype right away, and Lawrence not quite yet. And as I said in my prior video about the Jags will win the AFC South and how impressed I was with Lawrence, I mentioned in that video I was a big Lawrence, not hater, but just detractor in his college days, and I stand by that. I still think he shouldn't have been mentioned in that ilk of an Andrew Luck, who to me was a super duper great prospect. Lawrence was pretty good. I personally had Lawrence in the same ilk as Justin Fields. I think they were very very comparable in college. Even though I knew Luck, no, excuse me, even though I knew Lawrence was better than Fields, I think it was closer than what people think. It still feels the same today. Lawrence is better than Fields, but I think it's closer than what people think. But I judged him in Clemson very strongly. Some of my biggest videos back then, a couple years ago, while he was in Clemson, were Lawrence, no negative Lawrence videos. They weren't bad, like I hate him and like that. Just all football, all sports stuff. And I'm seeing some of the same tendencies I saw in Clemson still work its way into the NFL. Like I said, it's only into year 2, so it's not a big deal. But I'm just asking the Jags fans how you feel about him. You know, that's all. Nothing crazy. Unless I'm not even a Jags fan myself. I'm a Falcons fan, so you know it might be none of my business. But I just want to get the feel of the Jaguars post. I know the Jaguars were definitely a dark horse team coming into this year. Some people had them going to the playoffs, which they still, like I said, they still mathematically can. The AFC South isn't as strong, so they definitely have a chance to still get to that point. But man, they're looking kind of rough. You know, looking kind of rough. 5 straight losses. Haven't really been. They've been close. A couple have been close, but a couple of bad losses too. That the Texans lost 13-6 was terrible to me. Today's loss wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good. Giants loss was definitely winnable, you know. So, and the Eagles win. The Eagles lost. They had a 14 zip going to the second quarter, you know, or late first. So, you know, they definitely have a good squad. It's just a more improved squad. It's just they have to find a way to finish games. And just when they don't need it, Lawrence, it seems like Lawrence just throws a pick or makes a fumble or something, that a bad decision that doesn't need to be had or needed during that time, and the momentum just automatically switches to the other team, and they can't get the momentum back or any good moments back. It seems like that. And like I said, I know they're better, and Lawrence is playing better. I saw no when I do a video like these, or a video in general, I like to look up articles and look up like moments and articles and stuff and past games to see and to make sure I, you know, and clear and concise with what I want to say, and if I believe in what I say. You know, I don't go off numbers. I go off tape. I go off highlights. I go off film. All that stuff. And I seen a media outlet. I forgot what media outlet. I will shout them out. But I seen a media outlet, you know, put up, you know, Khan, quote unquote, thanks God for having Lawrence and Peterson, which he should. They're a pretty good duo, and it should be, you know, great down the line. But another article from the same media outlet that says, no, that they tried to compare the numbers between year one Lawrence and year two Lawrence, and there's no point. You know, even if the numbers skew slightly year one was better or year two was better, it doesn't really matter. He's definitely playing better in general than he did last year, but he still isn't where I thought he was after he would be in week 3. And after week 3, I thought he took that jump to being what people thought he was, you know, and what I thought that he wasn't. I thought he wasn't going to be that elite guy. I thought he'd be pretty good. I thought he'll be, you know, top 15-ish, top 17-ish guy. Nothing really beyond that. You know, maybe top 12, maybe down the line, a couple years from now, like way down the line. You know, year 8, year 9, year 10. But I didn't think he would be an elite type of guy. I never thought that. Same about Fields. I thought Fields would be the same way, or will end up in the same range. But you know, the way he played the first 3 weeks, even the loss to Washington, the first week he played well. I thought he could potentially be, you know, maybe a, you know, top 10 guy and above if he played that way after week 3 and on. But he definitely hasn't, man. So, you know, some strange going on in Jacksonville, or maybe just a second year wall. You know, it is what it is. Each team is getting better. As we know, the Giants is a tough go. They're 6-1. The Colts were and are a very tricky team to figure out. Houston's a tough team. Philly, as we know, is undefeated. You know, so Denver's a very talented team, just trying to figure themselves out as well. So the NFL is tough. I understand that it's not ACC anymore, but I definitely thought Lawrence was on the right track. Maybe still is. The season's still young. He has time to turn it around and flip it around, but I just thought he would have been further along than what he is right now. But that's it for the video, guys. Like, share, comment, subscribe. I will see you guys next time.